Kral. I am reporting to you not live from my closet. I painted my closet yesterday. I'm videoing this, and I did put last week's episode up on YouTube, and I mean, I didn't watch it because I can't watch myself. I don't know. Like, I think that's human, right? Like, you look at yourself and you're like, why does my upper left lip twitch when I giggle? You know, like some shit that like no one pays attention to, but you're just like, I will think about that until the day I die. So I don't watch it. But I painted my closet teal. This is actually the color of my living room, and then I had a little bit of paint left, and I just love it. And I use it all. But I'm on the floor right now. This episode's gonna be super late just because I'm on the floor because I actually like this, so I wish I had the space to just record on the floor every week like this. It's so comfortable. I have like pillows and shit. One girl listens who I love to death. I've known since I was like 6. She was like, your closet's really small. She like closet shamed me. I love you. If you're listening, I'm not offended. But for a minute I was like, should I not show people how small my closet is? Of course my closet's small. I live in Los Angeles. The fact that I live in a 1-bedroom apartment alone in Los Angeles is massive. And it's long. I don't know why I'm ashamed of my closet size. I'm not. But I wish I had the space to just record on the floor and have this half of my closet have nothing in it. But my nose is all runny. But I don't. I'm pulling everything out of my closet to try and like rearrange. And apparently you can put shit under your bed. I always had this like, I don't know, growing up I was told like don't have shit under your bed because like that equals a messy room, which is hilarious if you knew. I mean, my home growing up was not messy by any stretch, but like what a bizarre place to say you can't put it. So I've always just had a very clean under the bed. And then I realized I'm like, I have all this shit that would fit under the bed that like I don't like, why not just put it on? I don't know. This by shit I mean I have like 50 Disney movies from like the 80s and the 90s that my Aunt Nervine used to give me every Christmas. Like I have like the original Cinderella on VHS, like the black box or whatever it's called. Yeah, I looked it up on eBay. It runs from either $50 or $3,000, and I don't know why it's such a big discrepancy in price. But I was like, if I was told I was gonna get $3,000 for it, I'd part ways with it. But I don't want to put it up and then only get $50 and then have to be like, never mind, I want to keep it. Like I don't like $3,000, 50. That's a massive. But like I have that, my nose is running so bad. That's what's really fun about. I'll update you on COVID, but there's just some fun things that are going on. But yeah, I have that, and then I have like 8 collector Barbies. I have way too many Britney Spears action figures too that I uncovered yesterday when I pulled out my closet. I have which I won't get rid of course. I also have I think you guys know about my whole Buffy thing, right? I have a Buffy box, and I pulled out the Buffy box. I have way too many scrapbooks that I made as an adult. Like, not as like a teenager, as like an adult that I made out of Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm not in love with her. Like, I keep getting asked, are you in love with her? I'm not in love with her. I just want to like play with her hair and listen to, you know, all of her hopes and dreams, and maybe have her kids call me Aunt Kim and have like family dinner with her and Freddie. I don't know. I love her, but I'm not in love with her. She's too sacred to like, people are like, do you want to fuck her? I'm like, what? No, she's an angel. I don't want to do that. I love her. But yeah, the Buffy boxes for sure. It's probably my weird thing. I would say every time I open it up, like I remember I moved a couple of years ago. I moved like 15 years ago, and this guy was helping me, and he and another guy, it took 2 men to carry the Buffy box, and he was just like, I wouldn't show anybody this ever again. You should be so humiliated by this. And I'm not. I'm weirdly proud of it. Like I got the yearbook. I got a board game. I've got a bunch of stakes. I don't know. The board game, I can't get anybody to play it with. A few people have offered to play it with me, but they're like, how do I put this gingerly? They don't look like they care enough about it. Like they don't like, and I don't mean like they wouldn't enjoy the experience, but they look like they just, you know, like their board games are a disaster. I don't know. Like I want somebody who will play with it and understand the sacredity of it, and they will like treat the cards like they're, you know, gold and not bend them, or, you know, I just, my nose is running. I'm happy, guys. I'm in a really good mood. I'm really fucking happy. I feel bad. Like last week, a week ago today was the insurrection. What a weird thing to say. I never thought I would say that, but I feel bad because I got into my closet like right when they were counting the electoral votes, right, and they were going to certify, I got into my closet, recorded, and then like 30 minutes, like it takes me about 30 minutes to like get it all up and ready and like posted to the internet, and by the time I had it posted up, a bunch of hillbillies and racists had stormed the Capitol. And so I posted this like selfie that was like, listen to my podcast. I'm an ugly eater, pretty crier, cross space. And then I go onto the internet. It's like 3 people have died. And I'm like, oh, do I look insensitive? I know you guys know that I'm not a person that isn't involved or informed or doesn't give a fuck. I know that. If you're listening, you know me, you know I'm not. But I still felt like, oh, should I take it down? I didn't. But yeah, just I'm all over the map, but I'm really happy. It's funny. I'm really happy. I'm so fucking happy. But I'm scared of being happy. Like when I was a kid, when I like we know I had a sketchy ass childhood, but like when I was a kid, I would if I ever felt any sort of like happiness or joy without any, like I had such hypervigilance, and I would check in with myself and go, why are you so happy? And then I would force myself to find something to freak out about, because I was always so scared that if I let myself be happy for a second, like the rug would get pulled out from underneath me. And that's fair. I mean, that's what happened 100 billion times. Literally every time I was happy, it was like, you might be happy, but your mom just went to jail. You know what I mean? So it was like, so I was taught as a kid that don't be too happy, because if you're too happy, like you're not on guard. Everyone got on guard. But like, you're not, I was just so hyper vigilant. And I would literally sit there and like, and I found myself doing that this morning. I write every morning. I might do like the morning pages thing. I think I've talked about that, where I just get up and that's like my meditation, where I write like 3 or 4 pages, just like brain drain, like just like get the shit out before I start the day. And I mean, like I am terrified. I have my buddy Whitney. I believe I should double check that he knows he's supposed to do this. If I ever die, I guess if I die, I won't really care what anybody thinks of me, because I'll be dead. You know what I mean? Like we don't know what's going to happen after this whole thing. So like I might look back and be like, oh, it'd be hilarious. I told my cousin, I was like, there's a box of journals. Like I would appreciate if I ever die, you just throw them in the ocean or whatever is like the more environmental friendly thing to do. Burn them. I don't know. Throw them away. I just get rid of them. I dispose of them. And I was like, I mean, if you want to listen, if you want to read them, go ahead. But you're going to figure out just how crazy I am. And also, if you're interested in hearing about every little creepy thing my father ever did to me. Once I said that, she was like, no, I'll throw them away. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to know all of the... But like, I have like literally 30 journals of just me brain draining. And like, I'm not, I don't like say, I mean, sometimes profound shit comes out, I assume. I mean, I'm not a smart person, and I'm profound. I am profound. But most of it is just like, rantings of a person who just like whatever is in my brain. So it's just like, what if it's like last week I had talked to some people about, someone from my past coming back, and how they responded really fucking pissed me off. I mean, really fucking pissed me off. I'm finally okay about it now. Just like, I just realized those are not safe people to talk about this to. And also I'm going to play this one a little close to the chest. But for like 3 days, I was like stewing about how these people responded to questions they weren't even asked, by the way. I didn't even ask what their opinion was about this. It pissed me off. And I used my morning pages. I just wrote and wrote and wrote until I wasn't pissed off anymore. But if one were to read that, they would think I was a psychopath who was, just ranting and raving for 3 solid days about 1 or 2 words that were said to me about something that wasn't, I mean, and I know it wasn't personal, because I know these people love me a lot, and they're just like, a lot of times, I mean, people just, it's just projection, man. That's what I worked out in my morning pages, is that it's just fucking projection, dude. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, right. It's like, how did I get here? So this morning, I woke up and I was writing about how fucking happy I am. I'm just so fucking happy. And then page 2, I had figured out a way to make myself unhappy. I was like, well, you have this and this to worry about, and like, or this happened last time you felt this way, or maybe this will, and I was like, fuck, like that is my go-to in my 12-step program, ACA, they call it internal drugstore, because I am more comfortable when things are bad. I'm more comfortable in chaos. I'm more comfortable, and it's not like, I'm not like an adrenaline junkie or anything like that, but it's definitely, that's where I feel comforted in that, because I was raised that way, shit was always really fucked up. So like why is this not moving along with this? That's so weird. It doesn't matter, I guess. But it was just not ever safe growing up, right? Like, and then the moments that seemed like they could be safe, they weren't. Like, they were followed by very unsafe stuff. So I just feel more like, I don't know if comforted, but more comfortable in violence is what I almost said. I don't know what that means, but more comfortable in chaos, and more comfortable in upset, and like when I'm happy, my go-to is to try to make myself not happy, because anytime like, it was like when I was a kid, I'm trying to explain it because it's interesting. Like, if you know, like, if you're listening to me and you're like, that's exactly how I feel, but if you didn't grow up in that situation, or you didn't have, that's not a word, traumatic, maybe it is, traumatic childhood, if you didn't have that, you're like, what? I love being happy. Being sad sucks. But if you grew up the way I did, you're like spot on right now. But like, yeah, if I was always hyper vigilant and always ready for the next thing, you know what I mean? Like, gotta make them laugh, gotta do this, make sure you're over here, don't do that, hide here, hide there, make sure just always hyper vigilant and always ready for the next bad thing. The bad thing wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Because I was expecting it. And that's what a lot of negative people say. Like, I don't want to get too positive because then it'll be taken away from me. And like, and anytime I let myself as a kid get happy and it was ripped away, like my mom's sobriety, like, my mom was sober when I was a kid for like a couple of years. I talked about this on the Christmas episode. When she fell off the wagon when I was like in third grade, it devastated me. Now, my mom has fallen off the wagon 45,000 times in my life. She may be off the wagon now. I have no idea. Like, she might not be. I hope not. I wish that lady the best. But so many times she had fallen off the wagon. But the one that I remember the most is when she was sober for 3 years. And I thought that, like, finally we were going to be a happy family. Like, I was going to have a happy life, happy mom, happy childhood, all that stuff. And then I remember how fucking crushed I was. And I wonder, I might be just working that out now. I wonder where I got that from. That don't be too happy, because it'll be taken away from you and it'll hurt a lot more. And like, I don't have to live in that shit anymore. Like, I'm happy right now. I'm really happy. Like, I started a new show with a friend, and Conspiracies with Kelsey and Kim. Check it out every Tuesday and Thursday on Stereo. I'll tell you more about that. I also have it on my website and all that stuff. So if you want to check it out, but it's really like, I have a part, like, I'm starting a show. It's been a week and a half. We've already made we've made a little bit of money. And it's already it's so communicative. I came out of another show that just didn't have that. That wasn't, like, this girl and I just have the best communication. Like, she is one of my favorite people on the planet. And the relationship I have with her is one of the most intimate, loving relationships I've ever had. Like, I'm realizing in the last week that, like, I don't have a lot of adult, like, I've never had a lot of real intimacy in my life, and not just with like the opposite sex, but the opposite sex. I've never had a healthy, intimate relationship with the opposite sex. I'm currently trying, and it's taking a lot of outreach and writing and praying and meditating and stepping back and all that stuff, because like, my innate brain, my innate reaction to happiness is like, I gotta ruin it, I gotta sabotage it because I don't want to. So like, but I have this great show with a dear friend of mine that like I feel safe in. Like, I know that if she's unhappy, we have this communication. I just haven't had that with in my last show partnership. It's just like night and day. I'm getting healthy. Like, I'm happy. I'm getting healthy. Like, in the last 3 days, I've had someone by proxy. I think that's the right word. You know how sometimes I think you guys, I wonder if you guys are like, yeah, that's the word, or no, that's not the word, or you made up that word. But by proxy, die 3 people. One old regular at the bar I worked at in Highland Park passed away. I knew him, but I didn't know him well. But he was a regular, and I actually worked as a security guard after I left. But he passed away from COVID yesterday. Like yesterday, he went to the hospital 2 days prior or something like that, was on a ventilator, and then died. And so I think it's okay for me. No, I'm not happy about this. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, God, my nose is fucking running. Remind me next week to bring in tissues. I'm not just like snotting all over myself because I will be putting this on YouTube. Um, but I'm like, I think I'm just grateful. Like I have really bad headaches every day. Like that is not gone away. The headaches, like yesterday, I didn't get out of bed till like noon, just because it like I never got headaches before unless I was like hungover. But like I never got headaches before, and now it's just like it's a constant, and that really sucks. I'm taking so much ibuprofen. I hate taking pills. I'm just not a pill person, and but I mean like and my breathing is better. Sometimes it's a little shaky. I don't have a lot of endurance. So I have like on Monday I went to the store. I went out to the store. I'll tell you all about that. But I went out to the store and it was like a 4-hour ordeal because I haven't been out in the world. I'll tell you about it now. I guess here we are. I haven't been out in the world, since I got tested positive. And so I'm trying to, on Monday I decided to get all the shit I needed for like the next month, just because the Nazis apparently are all gonna, I'm gonna call you Nazis. If you're listening and you're one of the people that stormed the Capitol with your guns and your Confederate flag t-shirts, it's not tomato, baby. But yeah, apparently they are gonna fucking storm all the capitals starting 4 days before the inauguration. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna try and stay inside. So I did like 4 hours worth of shopping, right? Cried at 4 out of the 5 stores. Not like cried, but like misty-eyed. I think I'm alone in here, and I do have like the people I love like reaching out to me, but the only contact I have with the outside world of people I don't know is the news. For the last 2 months, right? So I have like 5 people I talk to on a consistent basis, and they're wonderful. But then I watch, the strangers on the news just be like fucking terrible. So then I go to I go to fucking Target and Trader Joe's and the 99-cent store, and like I forgot about the kindness of strangers. Like went to the 99-cent store first because that place is a shit show and amazing. My buddy Whitney Milton loves it. And I used to judge him and look down on him so hard. I was like, ew, I would never go to the dollar store. And then he took me to the dollar store. The dollar store is magical. It is magical. They also have amazing candles. Like, I don't know. But it's a shit show. And so I went there first. I went there really early. I went there first. And the cashier was just so lovely. Just like she was just, I don't know. So I just got misty-eyed at like every store just because every encounter I had was just kind people who were just doing the best they could right now. It's a really fucking scary time. And so I got home and my head was really pounding, and I ate, and then I laid down the rest of the day. So like my endurance is kind of off and my head still hurts. My breathing's all over the place. And I know that sounds like a lot of list stuff, like, well, this is still happening and this is still happening. It is literally night and day than it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I was like, I couldn't get out of bed, basically. I think 2 weeks ago, I went to the ER. 3 weeks ago? I don't know. I was in the ER in the last month. So, like, it's night and day. So I'll take a little bit of a headache. I haven't walked in a couple of days because I did the shopping. And then yesterday, I started my closet cleaning. This beautiful wall. I love this. I might paint something up here. I don't know. I'm very excited about the whole ordeal. But yeah, so I can't walk and clean out the closet the same day. So my endurance is a little off, but I think I'm just happy because I'm alive. This thing has taken out a lot of people. And there were some times where I was going, like I told you a couple episodes ago, where I was going to bed and like I couldn't breathe. Like I was like on the floor in the fetal position, just praying that I could take a deep breath. And like it's scary because it's like you can't really tell a lot of people that because people just get really worried. I know that's very dumb. I know everyone's like, tell us your truth. Why are you like, I don't want people to worry, which I know is crazy, but I don't want people to fuss. I can't breathe. But it also is scary because I had gone to several doctors and literally the answer was that's just part of COVID. So there was a lot of nights where I was like on the ground praying to take a full deep breath and I couldn't catch my breath, and like just being like right now I can't really take a deep breath. Jesus, it sucks. But just like praying, well, I hope I wake up in the morning because it's killed a lot of fucking people. So I think I'm just happy over that. And I'm going to play this really close to my chest. I play this hand close to my chest. I don't know if you guys have noticed that I use a lot of poker references. my father taught me life lessons, using poker references. Like, don't show all your cards at the same time, or poker face. I can't think of all, but close to the chest. Play this hand close to the chest. So I'm gonna play this one close to the chest, mostly because I don't care to have anybody's opinion about it. But I am getting to know someone, and it's really cool. It's really scary. I'm trying to take it slow. I don't think he's gonna listen to this. I think he said he might, but I don't know if he does. Hi. But it's making me really happy. I'm happy. And then I got scared. I'm like, oh my God, am I happy just because like a dude's in my life? Fuck, is that why I'm happy? Because you never want to be that girl that like her whole life is like, but then I started listening to all the other shit, and I was like, no, this guy came back in my life like a week ago, and I was really happy a week and a half ago. So like, no, not at all. But this definitely adds to it. And I don't know, I deserve to be happy, and deserve to be happy. And we'll see where it goes. I'm gonna, one day at a time. One day at a time. I wrote what, and I also, I know with me in relationships, one of my things, from growing up the way I grew up is, people like me, not just me, but I am addicted to excitement. And that's not just like, and I think that I read later in the book that does my big book, the big book of ACA, basically, or it's like, that was the nice way to say you're addicted to like pain, or addicted to like, it's not just excitement. It's not like an adrenaline junkie, but like addicted to like this high. So like I have feelings for this person, and I have a high. And one of the things that I am working on is separating that high from the person. Oh God, I'm burping. From the person, because I realize the past relationships, I would get adrenaline, or like, the endorphins or whatever, when this person would text me. And then when they wouldn't text me, I would get really sad. And like my mood was based on shit like that, or when he'd call me or whatever. And like, that's my addicted to excitement. So, right, I'm working really hard at separating the addiction to excitement and getting to know this person. And that's my shit, and like, and the fact that I'm aware of it, and the fact that I'm working on it, and who knows, I mean, this may implode, or this may not work out. I don't feel like it'll implode. I actually feel like it's pretty communicative, but if it does, I'll be okay. And like, and I'm getting to practice, you know what I mean? I'm getting to practice these new principles that I'm learning in my recovery work, and I'm really grateful for it. I'm really happy. I also wanted to talk about friendship. Oh man, I have talked about this friendship a lot, probably the whole podcast. I've struggled with it, of letting this girl go. A couple of people, in the pandemic, I've had to let go, just because they're just not the type of person I want in my life. And I don't want to like badmouth people. I don't want to like, I'm trying really hard to work on that, it doesn't need to be like, fuck them, you know what I like? So I realized, I want to talk about friendships, and I don't know how to like get into it. Like before I started working in ACA, and then before I started, before times, before my ACA, I lived very much in black and white, right? It was pointed out to me by an old sponsor like right when I first started. My little brother, I was still having a relationship, like a text relationship with my mother, and my little brother had gotten a DUI with cocaine. So a DUI with possession of cocaine. Is that a narcotic? I don't know, but it's probably not great that you are driving under the influence and you got a boatload of cocaine on you. Probably not a boatload, but I'm guessing like an 8-ball. I didn't ask. I don't know why I'm making these assumptions, but I had texted my mom about it, and she was like, I just don't understand how he ended up this way. And I got so furious. I threw my fucking phone. I was like, you don't understand. I'm going to try and move my, you don't understand how he ended up this way? Are you fucking kidding me? You have like 12 DUIs. Like, I've seen you do cocaine. I mean, I don't have a lot of memories of it, but I was a little kid. Like, why do you think he ended up this way? Like, I think of God every day I didn't end up that way. I was so angry, right? I'm not actually angry right now. I'm just yelling for dramatics. But like, so angry. And I call my sponsor, and I was just like, fuck her, you know what I mean? Like, fuck her. Or maybe I had to drive to Denver and just like get there and like help my little brother out, or like it was, she was like, my sponsor was like, there's like a whole middle ground, right? Like, I used to live in this, like, and that was the first time I heard that. Because, like, how I lived my life was I burn it down and walk away, or jump in and I fix everything. Like, I get really enmeshed and codependent and involved, or burn it down and walk away. And she was like, there's like a whole gray area. And I was like, oh, yeah, there is. I don't have to do anything. This is literally none of my business. Literally. Like, my mother's going to do what my mother's going to do. That woman is, she's kind of I don't know, I've talked about, I struggle with words to describe her. It's easy to describe my dad. He was a sick man who was kind of a monster. My mom, she's just a sick lady. Like, but she's going to do what she's going to do, and she's going to feel the way she's going to feel. And my little brother I know a ton of people that spent a couple of nights in jail over possession. I know a ton of people with DUIs, a ton of people who went to rehab, who had a drug problem, struggled, who are some of the best people I've ever met in my life, right? Like, some of the best people I've ever met in my life are addicts and alcoholics and have done jail time over it, so like, my little brother is going to be okay. Whatever's going to happen to him, it's none of my business. So that is like that's when I learned living in the gray. And so this, I don't think I've ever talked about this story. I had a friend that was like my best friend. She was, one of my closest friends. We were like family. Her family, was like, you're my second daughter. And she came back with me to say goodbye to my father, Nebraska, so like five and a half years ago, and which I will forever be grateful for. I couldn't have gone back and done that by myself. I hadn't spoken to my dad in 5 years, and he had like 12 days left to live, and I was terrified of him. There is very few things in the world in my life that I'm genuinely terrified of, and my father was one of them. And terrified of him. And I was faced with this decision to go back. I think I've talked about this before. Go back and face him and forgive him and watch him die. And I was so scared. And this woman came with me. Just, hopped on with 24 hours notice, hopped on a plane to rural Nebraska. And after everything she knew about my dad, this is hard. Everything that she knew about my dad, she was still kind to him. And that was always my biggest fear. And I don't have to worry about it now because he died. But my biggest fear, if I ever got married, or, if we ever were to make up, that's we wouldn't have made up. I had no desire to ever see that man again. But, if my husband ever met him, or, I was always scared that I was scared to be honest with where I came from and who my dad was, and then have them meet him and not be kind to him, because that's a lot to ask of somebody. It's a lot to ask. And this woman, she was kind to him, and she listened to my, can you leave everything and leave it at the door, and just treat him like you would if he was just like my dad, like a normal dad. And she was so kind to him. And there was a lot of stuff that she did that was very typical of her personality in that trip that I didn't care for. But there was a lot of beautiful stuff she did too. And it wasn't black and white. And because of her, and then when we went to say goodbye, we said goodbye, and it was just like the last time I saw my dad. We hugged in the driveway, and I was rightfully really sad, and just like one of the realest. Oh, wow, I didn't expect to cry about my dead father this morning. I'm really sad, and I was just like, I gotta get in the car, Dad. I can't keep just saying goodbye. I gotta get in the car. And I got in the car, and this girl, I feel weird using her name because I'm going to tell not a really pretty story afterwards about this. She had these edibles that she brought for my dad because he had cancer and he was in a lot of pain, and she gave them to him, and she was just like, all right, Tom, this one is if you're not feeling very good, but like, it's not too bad. And this one is if it's like medium pain. And then she goes, and this one, and my dad goes, Katie, bar the door. I had no idea what the fuck that meant at the time. And they say goodbye, and then she just, wow, yeah, it's whew. this is where I was nervous about. Look how pretty of a crier I am, though. Remember that? My eyes get like super blue for some reason. I don't know if that's true. Maybe you're like, girl, you're not a pretty crier. But she drove all the way. Like, my dad lived in a really small town in the middle of Nebraska, and the only airport was like 2 hours or some shit away, maybe an hour. I have no idea. A lot of cornfields, but she gave me one of the edibles so I could sleep through that. And she just drove by herself through cornfields. I was terrified to drive through those cornfields on my way to my dad's house, and she was up with me, and like, and then we got to the airport. We almost missed the flight, and she, hollers up, and again, the kindness of strangers. She hollers, like, she's like, "Hey, we got to get back to LA. This girl's about to lose her dad," which is a little bit of a lie because that made people think that my dad was in LA, but whatever. She got us to the front of the line, and we didn't miss our flight. And she just let me cry the whole way home. And I will forever be grateful to that. She's not a person that I'm friends with now. And I struggled with that because after my dad's death, I changed, and she didn't change with me. I think she was always that way, and the way she is now, and I shifted. She said a lot of hurtful things. I was a disaster. If you're losing a parent, or you've lost a parent, or someone who's losing a parent or lost a parent, like, it changes you. It's a different kind of death. I have experienced literally every kind of death there is. Literally a lot of death in my life. I can't count how many funerals I've been to. I've experienced suicide, murder, mass shooting, old age, cancer, young age, any aneurysm, all the deaths I've experienced. All, very close, not very close, distant friend, all of the deaths, right? And my back is starting to hurt. That might be a little bit of a problem with sitting in. And the one that hits differently is your parent, right? It's just like you're tied to the world is gone. You feel lost at sea. It's a very different death. And this friend, I don't think she knew how to not relate to somebody. Like, I think that she was one of the, like, how she showed love. Oh no, I think I turned it down. Okay, no. How she showed love was like it. I don't know how to say it, but like, it's, instead of just letting me have my pain and saying, "I'm really sorry like, I'm really sorry you're going through that, and I'm just gonna be here," it was like my dead father was compared to like 5 people, like, of her best friend she lost, or like her best friend's boyfriend or some shit, like somebody she lost in high school, and was like, "I know how you're feeling because I lost this guy when I was 14. And I'm like, "Yeah, I lost a guy when I was 14 too. This is very different. Please stop trying to like make my pain about you." Like, it was really hard. And at the time I had another friend that we were close with her too. And my buddy was like, "Yo, those 2 girls, it's always kind of about them. Like, we know that. Like, when we hang out with you and your 2 friends, they always make it about themselves. And it's not about them right now. So they're just not going to be, they're not going to be cool." And like, at the time, it was just like, I can't make everything about you. And it wasn't a conscious thing at all. Like, I wasn't like, I can't make anything about you. It has to be about me. It wasn't conscious. I was just, it's such deep in grief, right? Such deep in grief. And I think that's also why I turned to the toxic relationship I talked about last week. Like, I think that guy just let me grieve and just let me be there. He just was just there. And so our friendship shifted. She was dating her now husband now, and she was like, she said this to me one night, and I was like, "You hear yourself, right?" She was like, "Oh my God." She's like, "I love this new guy I'm dating so much. I was telling him how horrible you've been since your dad died, and just like how you haven't been yourself, and it's just been like a nightmare to be around you." And like, he was like, I'm trying not to use her name. He was like, "Oh my God, her dad just died. You need to give her a break, and she gets a pass." And then she looks at me and she goes, "Can you believe he said that?" And I was like, "Yeah, because that's what everyone on the planet feels like, except you. Literally everyone is like, the girl gets a pass. She just lost her father, who it was like the most complicated whatever. And this bitch was making, and so we just grew further and further and further apart because she would say stuff like that. And I just had shifted to where I have like a hair in my mouth. I couldn't be around it anymore, right? And so we grew apart, and then years later, she apologized. There's like a hair somewhere. That's going to drive me crazy. hot tip for you guys. Oh, there is. Okay, sorry. I'm sure that was like 2 seconds of all of our lives. It's fine. But and a couple years, yeah, I guess like last year, not 2020, but okay, so mid 2019, we had a sit down, and she apologized for all that stuff. Like, she just was like, I didn't know where my role in your life was anymore. You were so different than who you were, and I didn't know how to be there for you. And it wasn't like an awful apology. It wasn't like, it was just like, it wasn't like, I'm sorry that you were so different and I had to, like, it was just, you had shifted and I hadn't, and I didn't know where my role was in your new life. And so I tried everything. And then, she said, I'm scary because I'm not afraid of confrontation. I'm not scared of, I don't like confrontation. I'm just not scared of it. And I guess that makes me, I've been called a bitch a lot in my life because I'm not afraid of confrontation. I think that's stupid. But, and so then she asked me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. And, in hindsight, I said yes because of my people pleasing. Because she asked me to be, she basically said, I wrote a list of all the people that are, hear this, let's call her a name because I'm definitely going to accidentally say her name and I don't want to use her name. I mean, if you know me, you know who this is, but if you don't know me, you don't. And, what's a fun name? Sarah. No, I can't. Why can't I make up names on the spot? Like right now, I'm like Matilda. Like, let's say the hardest name for me to remember, Matilda. Let's see. Let's just call her. I'm blanking. This is when I'm really bad at trivia. This isn't trivia, but just call her Sarah. We're gonna call her Sarah. I probably won't even use her name. That was way too much thought into something I'm probably not going to use. But she goes, basically, I have 9 bridesmaids, and I wrote down all of the stuff that I think they're going to do wrong and how they're going to ruin my wedding. And I'm going to tell each of them that, and then I'm going to ask them not to do it. And I was like, okay. And she goes, well, what I think you're going to do is you're going to get too drunk at the wedding, and then you're going to cry a lot. And I was like, yeah, I'll probably do both of those things. It's a wedding. I'm an emotional person. I cry a lot. I just do. I'll probably cry because I'm happy. And I'm not, like, I looked back on this friendship because she always treated me like I was such like a dramatic drunk. And like, I look back on the relationship and I'm like, the only time there was ever really a lot of drama with my drinking was always with her. And it was always her, whatever. But like, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm not. She had like, there was a friend's wedding, had like a girl that got too drunk and then like ruined the wedding because she like made it like in the middle of the ceremony, was drunk and crying. And this girl thought I was going to do that at her wedding. I'm like, you don't know me at all. So that was the first like, and then I was like, Sarah, I did use her fake name. I was like, Sarah, I'm going to stop you. Am I the first person you've told this, have sat down with your little list with? She's like, no, I did it with our other friend. I think she's going to steal from the wedding and steal from all the bridesmaids. And I was like, okay. Me and that other friend are very close, and she is an actress, so she is a hard skin. But I am going to do you a favor and tell you maybe don't sit down with all of your best friends and tell them what you think is wrong with them. And by the way, once again, Sarah has stolen more in front of me in my life than I have ever seen that other girl. So I think all of her list was just her projection shit onto us. Because I was like, you're usually the one that gets drunk and runs out of the bar crying. Not me. But, and so I had a little bit of a resentment, right? So I do what I do, and I wrote a joke about it, and then she found out I wrote a joke about it, and then she got really mad. That joke killed. It's hilarious. Because it's so outlandish, just dude. Like, I've seen other people ask people to be their bridesmaids, and they get, like, a gift box and, like, a loving card. Like, it's like, this girl was like, hey, I'm going to ask you to spend like $1,000 minimum, but I'm going to tell you some flaws I think about you first. Like, that's going to be how again, let's remember the dad story. It's not all black and white, baby. It's not all black and white. But my part in it is I said yes. And I'm getting uncomfortable. I don't know why. My part is I said yes, and I didn't want to. And it got increasingly uncomfortable, and she's a pain in the ass, like just like a pain in the ass. Like, it was like, Here are 70 bridesmaids dresses for you to pick from. I don't care which one you pick, but I would prefer you pick these 3. But if you don't pick those 3, I won't be mad. But I really want you to pick just say those 3, right? And then it was like, they're really cheap, so you're definitely going to have to get them altered. But I got them really cheap so you guys can get them cheap. But you're probably going to have to spend about $200 to get them altered because they don't fit at all. So it's just like little things like that. This bitch is just like a pain in the ass, right? So then we get to the bridal party, the bridal shower. Our mutual friend, the one who quote steals, I don't even want to tell this bridesmaid story. I'm bored already and my back hurts. But she gets kicked out of the bridal party because actually, I don't know. I think she said something about one of the bridesmaids' kids. It was just like, oh, I should bring my boyfriend over here to meet this kid so he won't want to have kids too. Some shit like that. I don't know. This girl's savage. Like, this bitch says whatever she thinks and feels, and I respect the fuck out of her. Actually, since we've severed ties with this Sarah quote, she and I have gotten really, really close just because we like bonded over this thing. But so she got kicked out of the bridal party. And then she was supposed to plan the bachelorette party. I'm so uncomfortable right now. Maybe it's because my closet is small, as was pointed out by my childhood friend. I don't know why I'm bothered by that. I'm really not, but I wonder if you can hear me while I just am trying to, okay, here we go. No, I don't know, dude. I'm not comfortable. I got like 15 minutes left. I also, because of this it's also like body aches as part of the long-term fatigue or COVID. So I just get body aches real easily. Body aches, gross. What am I saying? So the girl that got thrown out was the one who was planning the bachelorette party. So again, people pleaser Kim, please don't leave me, please don't leave me. I'm like, I'll throw the bachelorette party. And I'm telling you, it was one of the worst nights of my life. Like, I bartended at the time, and the next night I went in, I was bartending next to the guy I bartended next to. How many times can I say bartending? The guy I worked next to all the time, and I told him, he was like, how's the party? I was like, it was really awful. I'm still kind of recovering from just like how awful it was. And he's like, and then like 2 hours into us bartending, he goes, Jesus, like that night, it must have been really bad because you haven't really said anything all night and you're usually really talkative. I was so traumatized from the screaming. Like, first of all, I can plan a party and my love language is gifts. So I like fucking nailed this thing. Like, this bitch wanted to go to Palm Springs. She wanted to go to Palm Springs to gamble, but not everybody wanted to go to Palm Springs. She just wanted to gamble. That's what she wanted to do. So I got her, she has a house out in the valley somewhere, and I had her leave for the day so I could set up her bachelorette party, and I made it into a casino. Like, I bought like the like casino shit, like all, like I went all out. I got little gift bags for all the girls, like, and the girls, like, this tells you what kind of person this woman is. The girls were one girl was like, yeah, I'll pitch in a lot of money. The other girls were like, I'll bring like a bottle of wine, but I'm not going to do much else other than that. So I was out like $600, right? Like, right out of the gate. And again, that's my own, like, I hate it when people are like, I had to spend, I didn't have to. I did this because of my own shit, because I'm a people pleaser and I don't want people to leave me. Like, I tend to try and rescue people I pity. So like, I confuse love and pity. And I pitied this girl, so I was trying to rescue her. And that to me was like love, which is not real. That's not, my God, my nose is running. That's not who I am anymore. But at the time, those are my like main traits, right? So the bachelorette party, I got like 3 gifts for the winners of the casino night. We didn't even get to play the casino. The screaming alone, these women, the screaming. Like, I can't explain the screaming. Like, that was awful. It was awful. Like, I would be like, okay, the first gift is, in the middle of it, one of them was like, like in the middle of me explaining the prize, the woman was like, oh my God, I have a game. And it was just like, just a bunch of this woman in a room. And then her and her sister fight all the time. So they like start fighting in the middle of it. It was a nightmare. And then the sister's trying to smoke over the new poker table that I bought that's like nice green felt. And I was like, yo, girl, can you not ash on the new poker table I bought? Like, I want to take this home and use it at some point, right? And then they yelled about that. And then they're yelling. So as I'm listening to all this, it just dawns on me. And I was like maybe 6 months, maybe a year into ACA, right? It dawns on me. I'm like, why do I care so much? They don't want to play this poker game. Who cares? So I got, and I don't have to sit here and listen to this screaming. I'm talking screaming. It's just like a bunch of women in a room that are like, I need everyone to pay attention to me. I need everyone to pay attention to me. So they're all just yelling and trying to yell the hardest and who has the better life. And it was just a nightmare. And so I got up and I went to the bathroom and I came back and they're all screaming still. So I had like a food table laid out. So I go over. I don't know if this is going so long, this story. I hope we're all on board and interested. I had a point to all this. I promise. We'll get to it. Also, it's kind of a fun bachelorette party story. It's totally fucking wild. So not like a fun wild, but just like fuck. So I go over to like the food table that I had set up. And I just don't engage. I'm not going to engage in that screaming. It was crazy. It was like, and then one of them goes, it's just because we all have really big personalities. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. Every year at Christmas, I have a little girl get together, like a small get together for women in my life who all have very big personalities, by the way. And we all come over and we play 3 or 4 games. We do a white elephant exchange. I didn't do it this year, obviously, because of COVID. We do a white elephant exchange. Then we play a couple more games. We have a couple glasses of wine, little conversation here and there, like little groups of conversation where no one has to yell. And around midnight, everyone drives home because no one is hammered or yelling or crying or like, no, this is a bunch of childish, I don't know what the hell it was, but that's not big personalities, but just like, so one of the girls that I really enjoyed, actually, she came over, and then the other girl I really enjoyed came over, and we started talking, and they're like, we're sorry about this. And I'm like, honestly, I don't care. Like, if no one wants to play the poker game, whatever. That's what I was told everybody wanted to do, so I tried to do it. No one wants to do it. We're cool. We can just do whatever bachelorette. And then I hear the bride, we'll call her the bride now. Just calling her Sarah seems weird. The bride, I hear her talking to one of the other girls, and she was like, this is exactly what I was worried about at the bachelorette party, and she's going to do this at the wedding. She's being really dramatic. She's making it about herself, and she's drunk. I had like a glass of wine at this point, and all I did was just not want to engage in all the screaming and ask one person not to ash all over my new poker table. And I was just like, oh, God. So then I started to drink, but not drunk drink, right? Because I knew at some point I was going to want to get the fuck out of there. But it was like, I was just like, I literally don't care. And then it got to like the weird slumber party part where they're like, guys, let's play what Kim wants to play. And I was like, I don't care anymore. I don't care. So then I was getting tired, and the bride pulls me aside and hands me this little bowl full of blue powder. And she goes, I was like, what the fuck is that? She goes, you said you were getting tired. And I was like, what is that? And she goes, it's Adderall. You can snort it. It's like 3 pills. And I was like, girl, I'm not going to snort anything. What? It's like 38-year-old woman. I'm not going to snort a bunch of Adderall at some douchey slumber party. What the fuck are you talking about? And then she was like, oh, can you not tell anybody that I brought this in here for you? I later found out that like half the girls were on a bunch of drugs, and then the other half we were like the narcs that they were like, don't tell Kim we did a bunch of drugs because she'll get mad. Which I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't like to put things up my nose, right? Like we already talked about that last week. So then everyone's dancing and it's fine now, and it's just like whatever, it's fine. And then I start talking to another girl who it was like the highlight of the whole night because she and I became friends. We actually never talked again, but we talked one time again after the party. But then the world ended. But so then everyone leaves, and I come back inside, and it's just the bride and her sister. And I'm thinking, like, I'm really close to the sister. I'm really close to the bride. This will be a nice, like, wind down to the night. We'll, like, we'll like have a drink and then go to bed, but like talk like we used to, and it'll be normal. I come in and they're like, they didn't call me disgusting. What did they call me? I don't know. They were just like, how you behaved tonight was just absolutely terrible. Like, we are so disappointed. You ruined the party. And I was like, what? And then the sister tried to fight me. And by the way, I didn't leave earlier because all of my shit was all over the house because I brought all this shit for the party that I threw for her. So I knew it was going to be way more dramatic that if I got up and was like, I'm leaving, and I knew I didn't want to come back. So I was like, I'm going to go outside. So I go outside. I watch the sunrise a little bit. The bride comes out. Oh yeah, I forgot the bride insulted my mother. My mom was brought up in front of her sister. And her sister was like, after her sister tried to fight me, I calmed her. Her sister's a little mentally ill, though, so that's not. Calmed her sister down. Her sister was like, yeah, you never talk about your mom. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of a rough subject for me, you know. And Tasha goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I said her name. Whoops, whoopsie. The bride goes, she goes, yeah, yeah. Her mom's like, I don't know, she's like in jail all the time or like whatever, like something. And I was like, dude, that is so hurtful. Like how you said that. Like, also, you haven't asked me how my mom is in years. Like, you've never asked me about that. You're just making assumptions at this point. And so I go outside and she's like, you know what, you're right. I never did. She follows me out and she's like, now that my sister's in bed, we can like actually talk, like blaming her sister for the dramatics, which it wasn't her sister at all. And she's like, now we can like talk. Like, you never have told me like how your mom is. I haven't really asked, how is your mom? And I started to answer and she goes, oh yeah. So she's like back in jail and I was like, Tasha, oh, I said her name. What? Fuck it. I'm like, Tasha, girl, I can't not say someone's name. I don't use her whole name, and I'm not friends with her on anything, so you're not gonna be able to find her unless you know me. But I was just like, I can't talk to you about this. It's too personal, sensitive of a subject for me, and you are being too shitty, right? I didn't say shitty, but I was just like, it's true. And she goes, you know what? Fuck you. Stands up, curtsies at me. Your Majesty, you bitch, and then puts both middle fingers up and backs into her house calling me a bitch. So I look at the sunrise, watch the finish of the sunrise, and I'm like, I think it's now cool to pick up the house and go home. I think we can call it. I think everyone's asleep who's here, and I can call it. So I walk inside the house. I'm done with it. I just had like the most quiet, solace moment that was like, I am done. And we're going to go over the hour today, whatever. I walk in the house and she's laying face first in the kitchen, right? On the ground, like a child. And I step over and I start cleaning up and I hear her like, like pouting, right? And I'm in there, I'm like, girl, I can hear you and I'm willing to talk to you, but I will not engage in whatever the hell you're doing right now. If you want to come in here and talk to me like an adult, I'm for that. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep cleaning up. So I packed the car up with all my shit. And I come back and one of the girls that I enjoyed was in the back sleeping, right? And I had left not a big mess, but a little bit of a mess, just because it would have been too loud to clean up. And as I walk past, I see that the bride has locked herself in the bathroom now and loudly crying. So I go into the bedroom where the girl is sleeping and I'm like, hey girl, I'm going to take off. And she's like, oh my God, it was so nice. She was so cool. She was like, so nice to meet you. And I was like, yeah, I cleaned up the best I could. And she goes, say no more. You did so much for this party. I will clean up the rest. Thank you, thank you, thank you, right? Literally everybody else seemed to see what I had done for the party except for the bride. I'm not playing victim with it. I made the choice to throw this party. In fact, and when my best friend gets married, I'm going to nail her fucking her party out of the park. I can't wait, right? I can't wait. And so I walk past the crying slam door in the bathroom and I go home. And, her sister wakes up and I was like, I don't know, the bride just locked herself in the bathroom. She's crying pretty hard. You might want to deal with that, but I'm gonna leave. And so I get a text later from the bride that's like 4 pages long. But how dare I? That the night was just ruined by my behavior, and I'm just a terrible person, and that like it's just going to be a haunting memory, and her wedding will be ruined because all she can do is think about how horrible that night was. I mean, just dramatic, right? And I don't respond. And then the next day it's another text and I don't respond. And I'm not responding right now because I'm trying not to react, right? Like I don't know how first of all, it took about 24 hours to like the screaming. I can't explain to you how much fucking screaming for 12 hours. It was awful. And I just don't have women in my life like that at all. Like I just don't have women like that in my life. And I mean, if you do, good for you, I guess. But like, I can't, I'm not into that. And so I didn't want to react. I didn't want to be like, fuck you. I was like, this is a friendship that I have had for 10 years. The whole dad thing was very special to me. I cried earlier in this episode. And so I just didn't want to react, right? And so I didn't respond. And then her text went from blaming me. And I talked to one of the other girls that I became friends with. And she goes, yeah, I told her that she's probably going to look back on this and know she owes a lot of people apologies. The other girl she kicked out of the bridal shower. Like, I mean, she treated a lot of people not great. And it's not like the stress of the wedding. This girl is sort of like that. That's just sort of like, she's just pretty self-centered. She's kind of narcissistic. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of like that. And, but I didn't want to react. And so her text messages went from blaming me and how terrible I was to, please talk to me. I'm so sorry. I rethought about the night. And I was done. And I texted her and I said, I'm not going to be at the wedding. I'm going to step down as a bridesmaid. I won't be at the wedding. And I think this is where I'm going to call it, part ways. I wish you the best. But I think we're good here. And then she sent me a long, she's like a queen of, 4-page text messages. Sent me a long text message that was like, I didn't read most of it, but I read a few of them, which I know maybe is not nice, but it was so long and so dramatic. And I was done. I was literally done. And I still am. But I was done. But it just said, I hope one day you will give me another chance to be a better friend to you. And I thought that was nice, but I was done. And you know what? That year, this is all you need to know about this person. This person got married out of town 2 days before Christmas. And the bridal party was expected to stay at the rented castle or whatever she rented out. Cottage. I don't know what the fuck she rented out. But it was like, and it was all so dramatic. It was like, okay, well, some of you will pay $30 and some of you will pay $400. I haven't decided where everyone's going to sleep yet. And your dates can't spend the night. They all need to get their own hotel rooms in town, therefore have to rent a car to come out. Like, so dramatic, right? And it was just like, and because of the 2 days before Christmas and how expensive it was going to be, I wasn't going to be able to fly to Portland to see my family for Christmas and do both, right? Like I couldn't take off the prior weekend. I was bartending at the time. Couldn't take off the prior weekend and take off Christmas. I could take off Christmas, couldn't take off the prior weekend. And so I was like, so grateful I didn't go. But it was like a hard boundary. It was like I knew not going to this woman's wedding was going to end the friendship. Like there was not going to be any going back, right? And then it's been a year, and she contacted me when she found out I got sick when I had COVID. Which, by the way, there's a few people that didn't, that used to be my friends, and I don't know, I don't even want to get into that, I don't care. There was a guy that I was very, very close to, and as soon as I got sick, I haven't heard from him at all. Which is just like, it's just cleaning house, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know why, I don't think, like I said, none of it's personal. I'm not taking it personal, but it hurt my feelings, doesn't mean it's personal, you know what I mean? But I heard from her, and it was lovely. She just said, hey, my dad told me you were sick. I'm still friends with her dad on Facebook. I might be still friends with her. I don't know, whatever. But she's like, my dad told me you were really sick with COVID. And it's been a year since I've reached out to you. And I respect that you don't want to be in my life. But I just really want to apologize for my part in everything that we did. And I owe you. I really owe you for, it was lovely. And she was like, please don't hesitate if you need anything. Even if you don't need to see me, I'll just, get you a Grubhub or something. Like, just please don't hesitate if you need anything. And that was it. That was like, there was no, and I know prior to my work on myself, it would have been like, oh God, I got to go back. I don't want her to leave. Like, oh my God, we'll be friends again. And like, she'd be here. And like, there was no, it's not black and white. Like I was like before it was like, we either going to be best friends or enemies. And we're neither. Like, there's living in the gray, man. Like, it's just, we're neither. And I responded with, I really appreciate you reaching out, and I really appreciate the apology. I'm doing, I'm doing better. I'm doing fine, and I'm all right now in terms of needing anything. But if I do need something, I'll keep you in mind. I hope you're doing well. And then she wrote back and said, please, 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 maybe not 3 pleases, but like, please, I owe you. And I didn't respond, and not because she doesn't owe me. Like, we're just, it's sometimes you just grow apart, I mean, that bachelorette party was really terrible. And then I was able to look back on a lot of other incidences in our friendship, and the amount of time she had left me at a bar, the amount of time she got angry with me over some guy she was dating that, like, I didn't, oh no. The oh no was I don't know how to technical difficulty. I can't say technological. And then I couldn't figure out how to record. And then I realized when you hit stop when you're recording, it takes like 17 minutes to like, I don't understand technology. And it's just getting more technological out there, friends. But yeah, then I look back on the friendship and there was just a lot of drama. And like, it's just like, I just living in the gray. I don't know. I wish her the best. There was a lot of, I just don't have that kind of energy in my life anymore. And it doesn't mean that energy's awesome. The broad has a lot of friends and is married. She's great. Like that energy is great for some people. It's not great for the way I live, where I'm at now. And I'm just learning with that. Like that's a lot of this episode is just living in the gray. After the insurrection last week, the girl that I've talked about a lot through this podcast and how I've struggled with not knowing where her place is in my world because of how much she didn't get. I'm gonna be frank, how much she has not given a fuck about the fucking pandemic, and has literally just not given a fuck. And last week after the insurrection, which is such a weird thing to say, kind of fun, she posted some crazy video saying that like Trump losing his Twitter account was communism, and like that, like censorship, and like this is just the beginning. I mean, she was hammered in the video, hammered. And it just like it also, like, in my opinion, if you have the same opinion as literal Nazis, you should probably look at your opinion. I don't know. I mean, like, if I was like I know I'm a good guy because Nazis disagree with me. You know what I mean? So, like, if you have an opinion that, like, Nazis are like, yeah, what she said, you should probably, I mean, like, I don't know, just maybe crack a book. Like, I also don't think this woman knows what communism is, but after watching the video and having a small laugh, I think I just let that friendship go. I'm good. We're good. And it doesn't need to have like a big breakup, or like I need to, like, be like, oh, I'm done with her, or like, like it can just live in the gray. There doesn't have to be black and white. It's just, sometimes you just move on. And if I see this woman, I'll hug her. If she wants to know why we've, parted ways a little bit, if she wants to have a conversation, I don't know what that'll look like. Right now I'm like, I will talk to her about how I feel. Like, no, I probably won't. But like, it's just living in the gray. And I have a lot of love in my life, and that's, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up. It's an hour. I'm one lucky broad. That I've learned that. I used to have just all or nothing thinking, and with this new thing I have, before this, it was like, well, we have to be like jumping right in, like we have to be like on track to like getting married, which is, I mean, even when, like last year, I didn't even know I wanted that, right? But it was just like, I need to know everything right now. I need to skip to the end of the book, and I need to know exactly what's going to happen. And if it's not going to work out, I want to leave. And instead, it's just like, it doesn't have to be like, is this the one, or it's nothing. It's like, oh, I can just enjoy this person. I can just enjoy getting to know this person, and I can just, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, because no, I think I am. I had an old sponsor that would say to me, you always say, I don't know, and then you say exactly what it is. So you do know. But I was just told so much growing up that, like, I wasn't smart, or didn't know what I was fucking talking about, or feeling. Like, I was always told I wasn't seeing or feeling what is happening. You know what I mean? So I always am like, am I doing this correctly? But, like, I don't know. Just living in the gray. That's where I live today. And it's not all black and white. And I'm letting friendships go and letting things go that just don't align with who I am anymore. I've changed a lot, and it doesn't mean that, like, I dislike these people or these things. It's just like I'm moving on, So I'm one lucky broad that I continue to grow, and I continue to, and that I'm alive. God, I'm so happy. I can breathe. I've survived this thing that has taken out a ton of people. I'm so fucking happy, you guys. I'm so fucking happy. And I'm happy that I can be happy. And, like, I can stop myself in the tracks when I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to not be happy. I'm so fucking grateful. You ready for your poop scoop? Okay, this story, I don't know if I've told it before, but I talked about Rob last week, the guy that I met his parents. This guy, I don't know, this relationship was very much me at 30 trying to prove to myself that I could have a normal relationship. So, like, everything I did with this guy was like, this is what normal people do. This is what, like, and I don't live that way anymore. So so I cared about Rob a lot, and I know Rob about me. I care about, sorry. But, like, it just, so one day he was out of town. And my water turned off in my apartment building, and I had like an interview where I had somewhere I had to be that I needed to be well bathed, right? So I texted him, and I was like, hey, can I use your bathroom can I go to your place and shower? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, right? So I go over to his place, and I poop before I shower, and I don't know. it's been pointed out to me that this is weird. There's a couple of reasons around this. All right, so first of all, I don't flush my toilet that often, like at home right now. Currently, Kim Kral does not flush her toilet often. Not like if I poop, I flush it. 100% of the time, I flush it if I poop. Although I pooped this morning, and it took me a few minutes to remember, oh God, you pooped, you gotta flush it, right? Because I don't flush it often. And I only don't flush it often because of environmental purposes. It wastes like a gallon of water every time we flush the toilet. And I pee like 40 times a day. That's 40 gallons of water. That's crazy. Like, I know that I don't think we're in a shortage of it right now. I have no idea. There's so much to learn about what's happening right now that I don't know. But a couple of years ago, we were. And so I just don't flush my toilet. I flush it like every like 3 Ps, right? I don't know if that's weird. Someone told me it was weird the other day, and I was like, oh, I guess, I don't know. It's environmentally friendly. I also, because I like my mom lived in a lot of cheaper apartments growing up. I guess that's a cheap thing. I didn't know that until I moved out into the world, because I never had that issue with my dad's. But like if you if you flush right before you go in the shower, it turns the water cold or hot. I can't remember which one. And so I would just made a habit of just like peeing in the toilet. Now I just pee in the shower every day. But if I poop, I think I've already told you guys that. But if I pooped, I would just like leave it in the toilet, shower, come out and flush the toilet, right? I don't know why. It's still sort of a habit of mine. It's just something I got from childhood that, whatever. No one's in there. I flush it eventually. Who cares? But so I shower at Rob's place. I shower. I poop, I shower, and I get ready and I go to work. And he was supposed to come home that night before I got off work, and I was supposed to go over there afterwards. Halfway through the day, it dawns on me, I forgot to flush the toilet, and it is full of my poop. And it was a poop, man. It wasn't like a cute, dainty girl poop. It was like a poop. And I couldn't remember. I'm like, I don't think I did. And you know what, truthfully, like I was like, there was nothing I could do because I was bartending. So bartending's not a job where you can just like go pop home for a little bit. Like you're stuck there. Like you're the only person in a building sometimes, right? And so I was just like, I guess if he comes home to a bowl of poop, he'll text me. And then if I don't hear anything, I guess I flush the toilet. And I never heard anything from him. But now that I've far enough removed, Rob was not a person that would have confronted me about that. Rob would have flushed it and been really freaked out for the rest of our relationship. And probably still wherever he is currently like, one time I had a girlfriend who left a big bowl of poop in my bathroom. Not a bowl, like a big toilet bowl of poop. So that's your poop scoop. I guess part of that's weird. I don't know. I told my cousin that the other night. He goes, what do you do? And I was like, I guess my toilet flushing habits are weird. I don't know. But that's your show. That's this girl space. Lots to follow me on everything. You can follow me at KYM. Oh, before we go, I queued it up. I got a few new reviews and subscriptions. Thank you guys. I love it. I'm so happy. So exciting. So I'm gonna go and read from the beginning. I read every week. I'm gonna read a rating or a review, and thank the person. And it'll be part of the I'm a Lucky Broad. I got a few new reviews, and thank you. They made me tear up. I got a little misty-eyed this morning because they were so nice. They were so nice. Thank you. So this one comes from, I'm going to say names too. If it has your full name, I'm going to say your name. I'm going to call you out, but it's good calling out, not like bad calling out. I also bad call out, so I don't know why I'm apologizing right now. This was from Mike Besaw, who is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. And he says, a very funny and honest podcast. Kim pulls back the curtain I can't read. Remember, I also can't read. We've already been through this. I can't read out loud. It's a nightmare. Kim pulls back the curtain of her life as a comedian in LA in a very funny and honest podcast. She displays don't know much about history. She displays an impressive amount of honesty and vulnerability and delivers a raw, hilarious, and uncut look at her memories. A great listen. Thanks, Mike Besaw. I love that. So my goal is to read all these every week. I don't know, a buddy of mine who has a podcast said he does that, and that's kind of his way of thanking his listeners for leaving reviews and ratings. So if you get a chance, I would love it if you go and leave a review and a rating. It does so much to help the podcast get like out there. And if you like it, please share it with people. I would love it if you shared it. You can follow me on all this stuff, KYMKRAL. I'm on YouTube now, so if you want to watch me cry, and tell all these stories. That's going to be on YouTube. Subscribe to that if you get a chance. And let's see. I have a new show on Stereo app, which is a free app you can download every Tuesday and Thursday with Kelsey Lane. We talk about conspiracies. I think Kelsey and I are a little too gullible to do this because we both, her boyfriend was like, yeah, after she researched her conspiracy last week, she came out all bug-eyed and was like, we need to buy a gun. And I have been pretty convinced Paul McCartney died since 1966 for the better part of a week now. If you want to know what that means, you'll have to listen. We're gonna record the first actual episode of the podcast, so there'll be a podcast soon. You can listen to our but if you want to download Stereo every Tuesday and Thursday, you can listen to us live, and you can call in and leave your reviews. I think that's it. You can email me at kymkralspace@gmail.com. KimKralspace@gmail.com. Leave me your poop scoop and your I'm one lucky broad. My goal is to get through all my DMs and emails tomorrow. I'm feeling better enough. It's just that there's a lot of them, so I get a little overwhelmed. But I will do it. My goal is to do it by, I think I say this every week, so don't even believe me now. But I think that's it. Please be safe out there. It's a really, really scary time. A lot of people are getting sick and dying, guys. So, what a weird way. A lot of people are dying. Goodbye. I'm not going to leave it like that. But yeah, just be really safe. Be really kind to each other. Wear a fucking mask. And, yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.